Hello everyone, I'm Dalton Ryan.
I'm Ryan Warner.
And we are the Movie Nights. Well, some of them. If you're watching this because you want to hear our uncensored and unfiltered thoughts and opinions about the world of movies, so kick back, grab a snack, and thank you for being a part of the conversation. Wasn't bad.
That was good.
It's been, we're back to monthly again, which is...
It's a shame, but it works out just because quarantine and,
Yep.
trying to hide their rapper sounds from the microphone.
Having crackers.
Oh, man. Yeah, I feel like it's been a while since we've been here. So speaking of been in a while, what are some of the things... I guess I'll kick it off since you just munched into the cracker. So we've been keeping busy with watching movies and whatnot. And with the French Dispatch coming out soon, which is going to be the next Wes Anderson movie, me and Skylar and I, for, the grammar people, Nick, we've been watching all the Wes Anderson movies in preparation for that, mainly because I, before all these movies, had not seen a single one. So I was very excited to watch these. And I must say, I've been enjoying all of them. And I think they're a lot of fun, a lot of quirky characters, which is just right up my alley. And yeah, I'm just excited to watch the last one, which is going to be Bottle Rocket, which ironically is his first movie. Mm-hmm. But it's always fun to see directors use the same actors over and over again, especially if you know that they have that good relationship. Like, Wes Anderson does it, Tarantino does it, and Nolan uses the same people in every single movie. Mm-hmm. And it's just nice to see that, they have that friendship and they constantly come back and want to work with that director. So it's always nice to see that.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm glad you've been catching up on Wes Anderson. I've finally seen every Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah.
Up until then, I had seen all of them except Following and Insomnia. Mm-hmm. And Hannah and I got it right the first time. Sat down and just watched all of the Christopher Nolan movies. Mm-hmm. Just rewatched all of them. Did a little ranking. That was nice. But it was interesting. I enjoyed both Following and Insomnia. But Christopher Nolan's my favorite filmmaker, so obviously I love all of his movies, some more than others. Mm-hmm. And it was funny, like, the ones, when you rewatch all of them, there are some that you forgot, like, that one was really good, and I forgot how good that one was. And it's, going back, like, Batman Begins is so good.
Yeah.
And you forget how good that is until you rewatch it. And it's really...
That was, 2005, so it's been a long time since that's been out.
Yeah. And it was really, really just a fun little, like, kind of almost like an exercise. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you kind of felt the same way. It felt nice to just kind of, like, there's some weird sense of closure in seeing all of them. And the reason we do that is because Tenet's coming out soon.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But, yeah, that was a whole lot of fun. And, luckily, Nolan's only made, like, 10 movies, so it's not like let's watch all of Spielberg's movies, and he has, like 40.
All, yeah.
So that would be quite of a task. But, it was a lot of fun. I've just been trying to, watch as many movies as possible during quarantine. Yeah. Doing the Evil Dead trilogy for the next classic movies. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, those are the other movies I've been watching, obviously, is the James Bond, if you've been keeping up with the franchise spotlight. I don't know sometime this week, this podcast will be up, but I'm sure Franchise Spotlight will be up before that, which will be on Tuesday, which is GoldenEye, which is the first Pierce Brosnan one. And I can say I've already watched it, but it won't do you no good because the video will be out before then. But very fun movie. Very goofy and dark.
That is one of the James Bond movies that I have seen. And I like it very much.
It's funny enough, it's one of the more iconic ones, I'd argue, that even if you're not a James Bond fan, you've seen video game. This. Yes, exactly. Because the video game came out for Nintendo 64, which I grew up playing and had so much fun playing that. But what a great time that is.
Great movie. Mm-hmm. I'm not even sorry about the sound of these crackers. I'm so fucking hungry.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you, man. Go for it. But I'm not excited for Die Another Day. That's the 2002 one, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. God damn it, dude. I've
seen that one too.
It's been forever since I've seen that one, but I just found out that John Cleese was Q in that, and that just further stamped that that's going to be Nick's favorite, which is just going to upset us to no end.
Nick will love Die Another Day.
Yeah, it's going to upset us to no end because there's so many good ones.
Those of you who don't know Nick, we're talking about the person whose favorite Batman movie is Batman Forever. And
who are the villains in that one?
Riddler by Jim Carrey and Two-Face by Tommy Lee Jones. And his favorite movie of all time is Con Air. So
And he'll defend it.
very well.
Yeah.
And so that's why we know... I threatened them with this cracker. That's why we know that Die Another Day will be his favorite, and it will annoy both Ryan and I.
Yeah, because there's so many other good ones. That's probably the worst one, but it'll be ironically his favorite. But, more power to him. That's what makes film so beautiful, is that it's subjective. We could watch the same thing and have two different opinions.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
And going into some of the topics that we have planned for today, before we get into our main ones, I want to know your opinion on something. Okay. I made a video for the channel recently about the whole movie theaters versus Universal Pictures debacle.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked it out, please do so. It's there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of misleading headlines out there as to what's really going on, and I just wanted to clear it up as much as possible. And I tried my best on it. So, I mean, not really. I was really lazy with the graphics. Could have been a lot better, but it's whatever.
Yeah.
I never really got your full opinion or grasp on like what did you know about it before the video, and has your opinion on it changed or not changed since then?
Yeah. Well, I honestly did not know much going into it, I'll be honest, but I did know that after working at a movie theater for a few years, that you kind of noticed a trend where like a movie would premiere pretty much worldwide, generally around the same time. Be in theaters for a few months, depending on how well it did. It would be out of theaters for like a month or two, and then it'd go to streaming. And I kind of thought that maybe somewhere along the line they had a contract stating with like different studios that like that's kind of how things go. Whether it was literally a written rule or an unwritten rule, just kind of like how movie theaters ran, because obviously they need to make their money in the movie industry and whatnot. But it's fascinating that Universal Pictures was like, we'll release Trolls 2 like on video on demand and in theaters at the same time. And then AMC was like, well, under those guidelines, and if you continue to do that, or if you just do that in general, we won't hold your movie, which is going to be Trolls 2 or any other movie that they do with that parameter. But it's fascinating that they're having this feud, and AMC's catching a lot of heat for it, which I think that they're in the right for, because they need to protect themselves.
Like that's
as
their
a movie.
business.
It is, yeah. Just like, if you were selling oranges and you were the only person in town that sold oranges, and I came in, I was like, well, yo, I sell fucking oranges and apples. And you're like, yo, what the hell? Like, I'm intruding on your business. That's what Universal Pictures is doing. They're intruding on the theater industry. And honestly, good for AMC for... I think they're the only ones who have spoken up about this,
Cineworld,
right?
who owns Regal, have spoken up. But Regal themselves haven't, but the parent company of Regal has.
Okay.
So, basically, Regal has spoken.
Yeah.
And Cineworld also owns a bunch of movies over in the UK as well. Okay. So, it's like also like a worldwide kind of like, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
But like, the thing that's interesting, though, is there's always been movies that are intended for VOD, but the studios will tell theaters ahead of time, like, hey, this movie is only going to be for VOD. Like, we don't plan on doing a theatrical release for this. And then it's fine. Yeah. It's when you break that window where shit hits the fan. Like, could you imagine if Universal is like, we're going to put Fast and Furious 9 straight to VOD? Like, there's no way. Yeah. There's no way they would do that. And I'm curious as to how much longer this is going to go, because clearly right now, the reason why they cause all these headlines is because they want to negotiate with each other and speak. So I'm curious as to what's going to go down there. Well,
because it's already been released. That's how they have all these streaming numbers. And so I'm curious to know if they take it off of VOD, if these theaters will still hold Trolls. No?
Trolls isn't even the problem. The problem is, when they were doing the PR spin about, oh, look how successful Trolls was on VOD, the CEO of Universal, NBC Universal, was like, yeah, it was so successful, we're going to do this with a bunch of movies. And then they were like, no, you're not. Good luck, buddy.
Yeah. Which, honestly, good for AMC and all these other theater chains that are sticking to their guns and protecting their businesses, because ultimately that's what they do. They have movies, they have a good, people go out and watch those. If Universal Pictures is gonna, or any studio for that matter, not just necessarily Universal Pictures, but if any studio is gonna impede on their business, then theaters are gonna go out of business, because no one's gonna want to go out when they can just sit at home and watch movies from their own home.
Yeah, but also, what Universal, I think, is realizing now is like no other movie studio is coming out and like defended Universal.
Oh, yeah.
They're all like, no, we need theaters to make a lot of money, so we're good.
They make
like,
much more money going into theaters rather than at home.
Basically, it's high risk, high reward. Mm-hmm. So, do you risk losing a lot of money by going into theaters? Yes. But if you are successful, you make tons of money.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like you can't get as rich, but you also won't get as poor.
Yeah.
So it's a whole risk putting a movie into theaters, and it's just interesting. I thought the whole debacle was just very interesting.
No, it is. It's very fascinating seeing how these two, I guess, corporations, if you want to call them, in the same industry are going at each other.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to know how, because I don't know how that comment came up. Because I think he was being interviewed on the success of Trolls and what his opinion was, right?
Yeah, the success of Trolls, yeah.
But I don't think that... Like, I don't think that was his intention to say that. I think it was more of a backhanded remark, unless that was his intention to, like, come out and be like, that's this...
I think what he was trying to say was... Hey, like, yeah, it was great, and in the future, not only are we going to put movies in theaters, but a lot of the movies that we originally thought were unsure how they would do theatrically, we're just going to have them be straight to VOD movies.
Okay.
I think that's what he wanted to say, but what he came out and said was, we're going to do movies on both formats. And it's like...
That doesn't look good.
What do you mean by that? Like, you know, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. And you know, people are acting like this is a new thing. AMC, like, oh wow, suddenly they're not going to play the movies. It's like, no, it's always been the way it is. If you break that window, the movie's not getting shown. Like, why would they?
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah,
but,
it's very interesting.
Moving on to our next story, we're going to go from companies arguing to companies working together.
Wow, polar opposites.
Right. I thought this was actually pretty fascinating. Spider-Man 3. Well, not Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 3, but like the MCU, Sony, the new Spider-Man movie, obviously had to shift its release date because like tons of movies are shifting their release dates.
Yeah.
Well, Spider-Man 3 is part of the MCU for Marvel as well. So it looks like they're in cahoots on what movies need to come out first, because Disney announced a bunch of their release dates being pushed back for all of their Phase 4 movies in the right order. So it's like, okay, you know that they're meant to be seen in that order.
Yeah.
But one of the movies that was pushed back was obviously Doctor Strange 2. And then, a couple weeks later, Doctor Strange 2 got pushed back again, and so did everything after Doctor Strange 2. And what took Doctor Strange 2's release date was Spider-Man 3. So Disney gave up a release date that they had on hold and gave it to Sony. Because that probably means Kevin Feige needs Spider-Man 3 to come out before Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting, and because usually like a release date is like a baby. Like when you have it, it's like, no one's taking that release date from me. And Marvel was just like, hey, we need Spider-Man to come out right here. Is that, you know, and they worked it out with Sony because like we needed to come out before Doctor Strange, so this was our Doctor Strange date. Do you want this date? They were like, sure. Then they like gave them the date. I'm getting all this from Newsweek, by the way. But yeah, so clearly they're in some sort of negotiation on the release dates of the films, which I thought was quite fascinating. Because Sony's also moved back all of their movies as well.
Yeah.
So now, what are your general thoughts on this whole, like, them obviously being in cahoots on the release dates? Because we know that they've worked together. They've made Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home together.
Yeah.
So obviously they have a good working relationship. I mean, they had
good.
That. Yeah. Good. They have a working relationship. Yeah. So just what are your thoughts on them being able to come together and like assort their release dates in that way?
Well, it's interesting that Spider-Man is set to be the first one in this next phase, which I would think that'd be Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because it sounds like they're just going to open up a bunch of different doors to a bunch of different types of movies and universes. But it obviously makes sense, especially after watching Far From Home and how that movie ends. Like, you have to have another movie come out right after that. Otherwise, you're just sitting on that and people may lose interest. But I'm curious to see what route they're going to go with that. Because we have seen the Morbius trailer, which also got pushed back.
And Venom 2.
And Venom 2.
Got pushed back.
And at the end of the Morbius trailer, we see Michael Keaton's Vulture, who was in Homecoming. So
I want answers.
Yeah.
When
we just keep getting more questions.
We just need Sony. We need Amy Pascal, God bless her heart, and Kevin Feige to sit in front of cameras and be like, okay, here's what's connected.
Yeah.
Here's what isn't. Like, don't play this hopscotch game that they've been going around playing. It's super aggravating.
It is super aggravating, but I also understand it because there was tension at one time. I'm not saying there isn't tension now between them.
But a very obvious tension.
Yeah. But I think if they just came out and cleared the air, it would make sense. Like the first Venom movie, if you want to say that's not in the universe, okay, then Venom 2 could be, you know? Especially if you bring in Doctor Strange before that, and that's how they can... Because that's initially my thought, is how they were going to connect everything, and they could still very well do that, using Doctor Strange to connect everyone, which would make perfect sense.
Yeah, but also...
They'd have to be very careful with how they do that.
Exactly, because if Spider-Man 3 has to come out before Doctor Strange 2, that means however the MCU is affected by Spider-Man 3 is in the script for Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah.
So which I find interesting.
They don't even have a script ready for Doctor Strange 2 yet,
They're writing it now.
Okay.
But, you know, Kevin Feige's master plan, he's like, something happens, and, I mean, I'm not saying, but, like, just... work with me here.
Speculation, yeah.
For Spider-Man 3, let's say all of Chicago gets destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
And then in Doctor Strange 2, part of the plot point is rebuilding Chicago. Well, if Doctor Strange 2 came out before Spider-Man, and like, why are they rebuilding Chicago? And then Spider-Man 3, Chicago gets destroyed, they'd be like, oh, but okay.
Yeah.
Then you have to do a bunch of PR about how Spider-Man 3 is a prequel to Doctor Strange 2. And it's like, but why? So it'd be a whole weird scenario there. But
do they have a director for Spider-Man 3?
John Watts is coming back.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
From what I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was interesting. And please, but Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal just come out and be like, all right, here's what's connected, here's what isn't.
Is Amy Pascal still at Sony? I thought she left.
She's allowed to do Spider-Man.
I feel like that's just a pity thing at this point.
Maybe.
It sounds like a pity thing.
Mm-hmm. Ironically, the reason why she got demoted was because in those leaked Sony emails, she said that they need to pay the women less.
Oh, God.
And that's why she got demoted. And it's like, but you're a female. Okay. Like, it's the most confusing thing ever. But, yeah.
Stupid.
But, just since we're talking about Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal, if you guys haven't seen the video of Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal promoting Spider-Man Homecoming, and Amy Pascal straight up saying, completely out of her ass, that Venom is part of the MCU, and Kevin Feige's face just trying not to lose his shit during the interview. Find the edit with the Curb Your Enthusiasm music. It's so much better. But just please do yourself a favor and watch that, because it is so damn funny.
Yeah, it's great. And didn't I didn't look much into it because I didn't think much of it at the time, but was Tom Holland actually on set, or were those just rumors, or did he actually film scenes in Venom?
Rumors. But Tom Hardy has been active on Instagram, and he recently put up a picture.
He had one that was deleted,
and deleted a picture of Venom like eating Spider-Man, but it was Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Okay, and let's clear the fucking air on this one. The title for Venom 2 is absolute fucking garbage. Okay, they could totally think of a better title than
absolutely.
Then what is it like?
Let There Be Carnage.
Let There Be Carnage.
Yep.
Like absolute carnage. I get that's a comic line.
This
but
just
like,
in. This just in.
Yeah.
The Batman Matt Reeves sequel will be called The Batman Let There Be Joker. It's a joke.
Okay, I was like, no.
Do you think I was being serious?
Yeah, dude.
No.
I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, see, that'd be stupid. Like, Let There Be Carnage. Go fuck yourselves. That's so stupid.
Yeah.
It could just be Venom 2, Carnage. Simple.
Or
Keep
even,
it simple.
what the fuck is the comic storyline called?
Absolute
Carnage.
Yeah,
Venom Absolute Carnage would have been fun.
Yeah, and funny enough, I'm actually reading that line right now. It's not bad.
It's a good line.
Yeah. But I think the problem, if they did Absolute Carnage, naturally everyone would be like, oh. And then if it came out, they'd have like a bad rap because it's not staying true to the storyline. Yeah. And it's like, it's just a fucking movie title, dude.
I got one for you. Venom 2.
Yeah. Or Venom and Carnage.
Yeah.
Something, you know?
God. I hope that's a buddy cop movie.
Let There Be Carnage. What a stupid title.
No, even dumber. Have you seen what Sony has officially named their cinematic universe?
It's like SPUMC or something like that.
SPUMC. Sony Pictures Universe of Marvel characters.
Oh my god.
It's awful.
Didn't they try to announce like their universe name a while ago and it sounded stupid
and everyone
too?
was just like, no.
Yeah.
And then this one's even worse.
Yeah.
Do I not call it the SPSV, the Sony Pictures Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
So easy. Very cool. Thank you, Kanye. But it's just, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
It doesn't make sense. I don't know who created that fucking name.
Yeah.
But what else you got?
We'll do the last official story before we get into anything random we want to talk about. The Academy.
The Academy.
The fucking Film Academy.
The Academy.
The Academy. I'm gonna hate when I edit that. The Academy is having a 1 year only rule change because of all of the craziness. Oh, excuse me.
I give that a 7. That was pretty weak.
Thank you. In the world.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, movies that are streaming will be eligible for Academy Awards this year.
Trolls?
Best animation? Absolutely, probably.
Yeah.
That'll be so fucking funny when that happens. But the rule is they have to have been originally slated for theatrical release.
Yeah, so
like a movie,
if they've already had the date planned during what is now quarantine and they had to push back, that makes sense.
Yes.
But I'm curious to know how that's going to fare for movies that move to next year. Are they going to move those back up? Or are they going to keep their...
If your movie's date's been moved, it's staying. Because that costs money.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because you're making a booking at a
okay.
and it's like, no.
That's why... You have to change the whole marketing.
That's why a lot of them are waiting so late before they push.
God, Tenet, please don't move.
God, Tenet, please. I'll wear a hazmat suit.
I don't even know what that fucking plot is. I could read the plot synopsis and it wouldn't make sense to me.
All they had to do was new Christopher Nolan movie, and I was like, okay.
Because that's how it came out, right? It was only in theaters, and it's like from Christopher Nolan, and you're like, whoa, what? Excuse me?
All right, I'm in. Here we go. No, but anyway.
Yeah, so for 1 year only.
For 1 year only, the rules are if your movie was supposed to come out in theaters, but you had to move to VOD because of the virus, you are eligible still for Academy Awards.
Okay.
Only for this year. But then they've made a permanent change that I think is actually a good change if they do it right. And that is the best sound editing and sound mixing categories are being combined into one category, best sound, where both the editors and the mixers will get the award.
Okay.
That's if they do it right. If they just call it best sound and one person gets it, that'd be so shitty. But from what I understand, sound mixing and sound editing people will both be nominated for best sound. So it'll be a lot of people on stage. But
fucking speeches.
Yep. But yeah, so best sound's being combined into one category, which is interesting, I thought.
Yeah. And I know that's something that's people have been wanting for a while now because I mean, to be honest, I don't even know the difference between sound mixing and sound editing. But apparently not a lot of other people do either because it's two different movies that end up winning.
The Academy doesn't.
Yeah.
So, easy answer. It's more complicated than this. Easy answer. Sound editing is like the sound design, like the sounds themselves.
Like
the
me
sound
hitting
effects.
a table.
Yes.
Okay.
Or like the sound of a lightsaber.
Okay.
Is sound editing.
Okay.
Sound mixing is taking dialogue, music, Foley, that sound design, and mixing it and leveling it out and making sure that nothing is above or below par and making sure everything sounds perfect and clean.
Okay.
So they used to be separate categories, now they're the same category at the Oscars.
I mean, if they, like you, I think if they do it right, it'll work out, giving both the sound mixers and editors the Oscar because you're encompassing both of them into best sound, which sound does take both of those things to be put into the movie.
I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, no, I do too.
Yeah, so we're on agreement there.
Yeah, no, I mean, other than you just telling me that now, I didn't know the difference, but hopefully there's not a lot of backlash with whatever the first winner of best sound is, because I know that there's always been confusion of like, well, why didn't this movie win best mixing?
Yeah.
If this movie just won best sound.
Yeah.
So, hopefully we'll see.
It's a whole bag of dicks.
Yeah.
There's always a movie that gets like
shafted.
Yeah, like I think A Quiet Place got a Best Sound Editing nomination, but not a Best Sound Mixing nomination, and
Which
it's
doesn't
like
make sense.
yeah, it's like okay,
yeah,
fine, I guess, but yeah,
pretty much any war movie is gonna win that award though.
War movies, car movies, things like that.
Loud, obnoxious movies. They should just rename the Oscar to that. Loud, obnoxious noise music.
Best noise.
How fucking funny would that be? That is the Oscar I want to win. Fuck Best Picture. I want to win Best Noise.
but when they say it, they have to say it like, here are the nominees for Best Noise.
Best Noise. I am on board for that one, actually.
Oh.
Son of a bitch.
Oh my god.
That's funny. But
now I'm thinking of like movies that would have won Best Noise. Like Inception would have totally won Best Noise. Star Wars would have won Best Noise.
Oh, every Star Wars movie would have won Best Noise.
Tokyo Drift. Absolutely.
Tokyo Drift.
Best
Drift.
Noise.
Oh, God damn it, dude.
You know what? Throw music into that category as well. Like any audio thing just turns into Best Noise.
Yeah. Best Original Noise.
Best Adapted Noise.
Oh my god.
Okay, random question.
Yeah.
Now that we're like kind of joking about this, what is an Oscar category that isn't a category but needs to happen? We've talked about it briefly before. Anything specific?
So, naturally, I want to say horror films because I'm a big horror film guy and I feel like they don't get enough love, and we've talked about it extensively with Toni Collette being snubbed at the Oscars, but I don't understand how they would do like a best horror because they don't have like a best thriller, best action or anything like that.
There's not a whole lot of genre categories except like best animated film.
Yeah, which I can understand that one, which I understand there's like a lot of backlash whenever they did create their own category. But if I had to say one, I'd probably say like best casting director. Just because like if you go at the MCU, the casting for that was fantastic, and typically you only have one casting director on any given movie. And the casting is probably one of the most important. I mean, I'd say they're all important jobs, like the screenwriter to director to producer.
Yeah.
Like, they're all important.
There's not an unimportant job.
Yeah, exactly. But casting director is literally in charge of bringing these characters from a page and making it into a person. And they have to decide who best would fit that character.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very essential job.
Unsung heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like they don't get enough love.
Yeah. No, I
Because like I couldn't name one casting director off the top of my head, but I could name like producers, writers. I could name directors.
It would help them get them in the forefront.
Yeah, absolutely. But what about you?
I agree with you on that one, and that's one that's been argued for a while. But one that I think would also be nice is best stunt coordinator or best like stunt choreographer.
Okay.
Not necessarily best stunt because like whatever Mission Impossible movie comes out that year is going to win that.
Yeah.
But like when you watch movies like John Wick and The Raid, you know, like movies where it's like so much work went into crafting a scene that felt realistic and just it's almost like a well choreographed dance.
Yeah.
And it's just like there's something so fundamentally unique about that aspect of filmmaking that I think that's why I think it deserves its own category. Because like you can be nominated for an Oscar, like you can be best sound can be nominated for a movie that isn't overall a good movie. And I still feel like a best stunt coordination, like your movie doesn't have to be all that great, but if you have really incredible stunts, they should be recognized. Because like your stunt coordinator is not going to make your movie good, but they still deserve to be recognized. You know what I mean?
And like, look at Jackie Chan. He made a whole career based off his stunts.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's not going to win Best Actor. I mean, he could, but someone like him should be recognized for the work and everything that they've done for their genre of film that they've made and helped bring to life.
Yeah, and it's one of those things with like I mentioned John Wick and The Raid and stuff like that earlier, but also even movies like Fast and Furious. Like if you have like practical stunts going on. The person who coordinates and choreographs each of those stunts and pulls it off on camera. Like when I was rewatching Nolan movies, I rewatched The Dark Knight, and like when they flip that semi-truck in the air, like, and it's all practical, it's like, whoever thought of that, they're probably like, you're insane. But they pulled it off and it worked great, and it's to wonderful effect in the film. So just like, you know, they're literally crafting moments like that are not easily pulled off and can easily pull you out of the movie if they're not done well.
So I have a two-parter question for you then with that. Is the first question is, would you only allow practical stunts in this category?
Yes.
Okay, and then follow-up question is, if this were to be a thing, do you think it would help promote people to go more practical than just CG work? Like whenever you think of stunts and CG, I think of Marvel movies. Whenever they're fighting off like villains or whatever, they have these great like fight sequences. Would you think that having this Oscar would help promote more practical stunts and more practical action scenes?
Not from a studio standpoint, but from a stunt coordination standpoint.
Okay.
Because you're going to have a lot more stunt coordinators who are like, yo, this is my time to shine. Let me do these stunts. And I think it might encourage that more, but also encourage people to go into the stunt profession.
Okay.
Because it's a profession that's very unique and very difficult. And it's also, like, it's literally staging combat that seems natural, realistic, and fits within a story that's not yours, that you're not telling. So it's a really interesting and hard job, I think, that deserves some recognition.
And one movie that I want to point out, because I recently just watched this, was Ang Lee's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Amazing stunts in that
Those
movie.
stunts and those fight scenes all tell a story. And there's no dialogue when they're fighting. You just have to get the story from the way that they're moving and dancing. And I mean, that's what they're doing. They're dancing, they're fighting. And that is a prime example of storytelling through stunts.
And not only that, but like other than stunts, like, I don't know if I fully agree with this, but I want to run this by you.
Okay.
Because I've talked to people who, I forget who it was, it's going to kill me, but someone brought up, hey, wouldn't it be cool if the Oscars, instead of making nominees for Best Picture, they made nominees for every genre, like Best Drama, Best Horror, Best Action, Best Comedy, Best whatever. And then the winners of each of those categories are automatically revealed as a Best Picture nomination. And then at the end of the night, when all of the Best Genre Awards are given out, all of the winners are then announced as, here are your nominees for Best Overall Picture, and then a winner is chosen from those winners. And I was like, that's cool, but then it takes away how difficult it is to win an Oscar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, like, that's my struggle with, like, letting genre stuff in there. Because, like, it's pushing it even with animation. But at the same time, it's nice that animated films get recognized. Whereas the reason why, like, Get Out was able to be recognized is because this is a movie that was so good. It transcended boundaries and was nominated for an Academy Award, where it's no holds barred. Any genre can be nominated.
Yeah.
And to me, like, even movies like Jojo Rabbit, like a satirical comedy, making it all the way to the Academy Awards is something that was a huge leap and bound and very difficult to do. Whereas if you genre them out, then the feat seems a whole lot less appealing. And you're only limiting the genre to one per category, which I feel is a bit meek. But your thoughts on sort of that idea?
It's interesting to think about, but there's no logistical way to do it, in my opinion. Because if you look at the Golden Globes, they have Best Comedy and Musical, and then Drama, and it's a two-parter category. It's Best Drama and Best something.
Musical or comedy.
Musical comedy, and then there's Drama and whatever the other one is. But like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I believe, was a comedy musical, and it's like, no, that's a drama. So how do you make differences in these movies whenever they're multi-genre, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like that logistical reason would piss off a lot of people, and it just wouldn't make sense for the Academy. Because I think, like you, having just Best Picture and then having this comedy just come out of nowhere, Jojo Rabbit, and just go all the way to Best Picture. You have Get Out, which is a horror movie, go all the way to Best Picture when everyone's like, it's just a horror movie. Well, it's much more than that. Like you said, it transcends these boundaries and ultimately gets up to Best Picture to compete with what's said to be the best movies of the year. So I don't think there's any logistical way to do it, but I do think it's a fascinating idea to play around with, but nothing more than that.
No, interesting though with casting directors and stunt coordinators. I think that both of those kind of deserve recognition.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because screenwriters get love, sound designers get love, directors, producers, everyone gets love except for people who work with producers, people who work with directors, casting directors, stunt coordinators. Yeah,
it's an odd, weird thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's all I had planned for today's show. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, good sir?
Nothing that I can really think of.
All right. Well, thanks everyone so much for watching. We'll see you again next month. Hopefully the world's in a much better place by then.
Yeah.
But we'll still keep you up to date with Franchise Spotlight and classic movie reviews for now. And if we have any other updates on anything we're going to release, you can follow us on social media, Facebook at Movie Nights, and Instagram and Twitter at Nights_movie. And that's just about it. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, stay safe.